This is my disclaimer. This is not medical advice. I cannot give medical advice. I am not a doctor, and YouTube forbids it. So this is just for fun and entertainment. But it really is interesting. I would like you guys to press the like button, press the subscribe button, and the bell so that you continue to get my videos. If you don't want to watch them, just don't watch them, but at least you won't lose my channel, because the kind of stuff that I talk about usually gets lost in YouTube land. So I know this is a little bit outside of my looking at the Bible and stuff like that, but this is where God's putting my heart to look at right now again. This is something that I've been looking at since '98. My sister died of cancer, and I found a possible cure probably about a year after she died. That, I regretted from that moment that I never started looking prior, because she left behind 4 boys. And her youngest one was 3. So I started looking. I was a person that I kept on getting these bouts of illness. It started when I was like 9, where I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis for 3 years, and I was just in agony if you've ever had such a disease. And then it went away. I don't know why it went away, but when I got older, I had extreme acne and just lethargic. And as a child, younger, prior to getting rheumatoid arthritis, I had the energy like you wouldn't believe. I was like a typical kid. I mean, I just kept on going. I never felt tired. That wasn't, you just, like as a child, you just fall down, you're tired, you sleep. But after that point, I never really fully recovered. And later on, when they did the test for juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, they said that I don't have it. But that was the diagnosis that I got when I was 9 till I was 12. And then it went away. And then in my 20s, I had heart problems, heart palpitations, and acne, and lethargic, and I had 3 young children. My life was crazy. And when I was about 22 years old, I went to a naturopath, and he put me on a really restrict diet, which cut out all sugars and things like that, and breads, and that was back in 1982, something like that. So I went on that, and I stayed on that diet for a number of years, and I went through a few fasts when I went on a 3-month cabbage soup fast. To clean. And I really did pick my health back up. It really made a big difference. I got extremely ill again when I was 32, and I got hit by something that was like a virus that came on in a cold in a chest and everything like that. And I was down for the count for 8 years. I was extreme agony. I was in so much pain, like every inch of my bones hurt. And I when I felt good enough and I could drive, I would sit in the library and I would read and try to find out. And that's when my investigation really started into disorders and diseases and autoimmune. And I started at that time where there was no internet at that time. So it was all books, and it was whatever my library had to give me. And I just sat there, and most of these, you couldn't take these books home, because they belonged to the library. They were, the medical ones at that time. It wasn't like I could bring it home. I had to sit in the library and read. And so I tried to find out the difference. Well, what was happening to me? Do I have an autoimmune disease? So I started looking at all the different autoimmune diseases, and I started looking at what was the cause of different autoimmune diseases. I tried to piece together what was different, and I couldn't find a cause. Like nobody, when they got down to it, like what caused cancer? Well, it's this thing that grows, it's this fungus that grows, but what causes, well, I don't know. What causes lupus? Well, we get down to it again. We don't know what the cause is. We don't know what the cause is. I kept on coming that always. There was always, we don't know what the cause is of MS. We don't know what the cause is of all of these different diseases. I looked at so many of them, and they all had the same signature. They all have it. If it's an autoimmune disease, if you're going to get a blood test to show that you have an autoimmune disease, it shows in your white blood cell count. That's the only way that they can tell, but it does not distinguish between one autoimmune disease from the other. What distinguishes, so the blood tests don't, but what does is the symptoms. So that has always said to me, well, that just sounds to me like it's all the same thing. It's just coming out, it's wherever it's hitting that person. You see, on top of that, my mom had lupus, and she spent most of her life in bed because she could never beat it. And so anyways, go a few more years and my sister gets sick, and she dies of breast cancer and leaves 4 boys behind. And when I start looking into cancer again, like I said earlier about her, I found a possible cure about a year after. And this was, I can't remember the first name of it, but it was Dr. Casey. And she developed this. Well, she didn't develop. She found it through working with Native people here in Canada of something that they were using to treat cancer. And she called it Isiac, which is just her name backwards. And all it is I think 8 or 9 herbs that you can find in any backyard, basically, or any field in Alberta. In Canada, it's like a prairie kind of stuff. And it's just making a tea. And she had cured many people. Well, she, along in that, just like so many people that have cured things, got shut down, got, arrested and all this. And all she was doing was curing people from cancer that were actually on death's door. And truly, within days, people were being revitalized. So I started taking that because, I've had so many, and as a tea, and I still carry Isiac tea. It's a good, it's not the most powerful one, but it is really is a good, it helps your body flush off a lot of stuff, which is really good. It also has, and it helps you go to the bathroom and stuff like that. So, I don't use it as much because there's some stuff that is even way better that I found through the years. But then we come around again, and I'm doing pretty good. And then I get really sick again, just very ill, and it lasts for about another 3 years, and I'm still not really figuring out why. I'm not really piecing together all of this. And in the midst, my daughter gets MS. And this is 3 years ago. So I'm down for the count. I've got serious heart issues and lung issues, and I can barely walk from the bathroom to the couch, and my daughter's sick. And I know already at this point, I already know that there really is no difference between MS and many of these diseases. Lupus and, fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, they truly are the same thing. So I already knew that. Unfortunately, my daughter is older now, and she doesn't want to hear me. So she doesn't take this advice. And this advice really is for her. So I pray that one day she will listen to this, and she will get better. I'm doing this research, and in the meantime, that's when I'm starting to see in about 2015 here. There was this massive murder of all of these naturopathic doctors that were alternative, people that were, looking into the same stuff and researching the same stuff that I had been researching. And there was like 500 or 600 in 2015. I don't think you'd be able to find any of it now, but I lived through it. So I'm telling you what I experienced, what I saw. And they were just like, they were being hunted and killed. And there was even ones that they said, they committed suicide. So there was this huge amount that were committing suicide. But then I started looking into some of these deaths. And they said that they committed suicide, but they got a bullet in the back of the head. Or they were bound up, like hog-tied and thrown in the lake, but they committed suicide. It wrote down on the report that it was a suicide. Or This is a great one that happened a lot. The doorknob and the tie, where they're strangled to death, where they hang themselves by a tie on a doorknob. A red tie, usually. So anyways, there was this massive killing of these people that were teaching you how to get over what was happening in the world. Get over the illnesses that all of these people that were running into these things that I'm talking about right now. And some doctors had left the country and are okay. But I'll tell you, you go to a chiropractor, you go to a naturopath today, you're not going to get the same kind of information that you would have been prior to 2015. Because, well, I would imagine a lot of them are a little bit scared to really get deep into it. So I took my daughter when she was to a naturopath, cost me $1,500, and he gave us a sheet and a diet and never really educated us or anything. And I'm like, I walked away thinking, I mean, yeah, we did infusions and we did stuff like that, but what a waste of money. And what a waste of my time. I knew more than what he knew, sitting there across from me. And I'm thinking, you really haven't. I've just thrown my money at you, and you've given me back half of the information or a quarter of what I already knew. And I'm not trying to put myself up as being something special. It's just that I've looked into this for decades. I've looked into these diseases and stuff. Okay. So now it comes where we've got this, every time that I've gotten sick and I've gotten better, every single time I did 3 basic things. So it's just looking at it. I did a yeast cleanse, I did a parasite cleanse, and a heavy metal cleanse. Every time I got better. Every time that I was on death's door, the only thing that brought me out of it was those 3 things, okay? And the doctor medication that they were giving me during the time while I was suffering had made me go to the hospital more times than not. The doctor almost killed me by prescribing 2 medications that contradicted each other, and I ended up in the hospital. So I really don't trust the medical industry too well, because they don't go any further. They stay where they are. They're not allowed to. For one thing, they'll lose their license. They're just like the naturopaths, where they're strangled. They can't tell you. So it has to be that people like me who have been researching this stuff for decades that are left to tell you what's going on. So when I posted, I put on a couple of videos recently on I think it's called frankincense, myrrh, and parasites. Please watch that video, because along with everything else, this is what and it's biblical. So, I mean, like, this really comes full circle. It was what Jesus was given. It's what Adam and Eve were given when they came out of the Garden Eve. It was these antifungal parasite natural remedies. And that's what those things do. They are natural remedies. Like, this is one that, it sounds really scary, but it's not the same thing. And it's pure gum turpentine, pure spirits of gum turpentine, which is not turpentine, people. It is made out of the sap of the same stuff, but when they make turpentine, they add other ingredients to it to change the molecule. So it's not the same thing. It sounds like it is. But what it is antifungal parasite killer, which is the best in the world. And it works quickly. And you only do a 3-day cleanse. You do it, take a teaspoon a day for 3 days, take 3 days off, take it for a couple of more days, and that's it for a few more months. And then you do the same thing. You continue to do this. Or some people actually will take a smaller dose every day just to sort of keep it up. I think that's a wise thing, but you choose. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm telling you my journey. Okay, so I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I've found works, and works fast. So I showed another video saying that, here, this one video got me, and I said, the video is called Watch It Anyways, because I didn't want to put the name of it, because that was another thing that I found through the years that works really well at getting rid of those things and helps detox heavy metals as well. So anyways, so these are the things that will, I don't care what you have, I don't care what disease, if it's an autoimmune disease, if you were not born with it because your heart was on the wrong side of the, the tracks, kind of stuff, where it was truly where you've had a deformity, if it's an illness, if it's a cancer, if it's an autoimmune disease, it is a fungus, parasitical, and heavy metal infection. It is all three. Treat it as all three, and you will get better. Again, this is not medical advice. This is just what I have found. And all the people that have listened to my advice have gotten better. Like when I went to the doctor, this is like, just got to tell you this story. I go in and I've got this trigeminal nerve at this time when I'm still really sick, this couple of years back. Trigeminal nerve damage in my face in it. And if you've ever experienced it or know anybody who has it, they call it the suicide pain, because it's like having your whole mouth with all of your teeth having tooth pain. And I had this for 2 years. I dropped down to nothing. I was just a bag of bones because I couldn't eat. And I went to my dentist, telling my dentist, thinking that it has to be my teeth, because I went to all the other doctors, still not thinking about how I got cured before, because I'm thinking this is separate. I'm not realizing, because I can be slow. No, I'm not thinking this is the same thing. I'm thinking it's nerve damage. It's not. It's from TMJ, or it's that kind of stuff. So I go to my dentist thinking, well, it's probably my teeth. And he looks at me and he tells me, I've had a couple of people come in the last few years, and it is a sinus fungus infection. And the more that you feed it antibiotics, see, that's the thing about antibiotics, which is, I was on antibiotics for 10 years, like all the time, is it will kill an infection, but what it does is it takes away all the stuff that kills fungus. So when you stop taking antibiotics, within a few weeks, you're starting to get sick again. And that's what I was, because you're not getting sick from the infection, but you're getting sick from the fungus. So you get the fungus infection starts to grow. And then that fungus infection turns into an infection that you can treat with antibiotics, but it's this vicious cycle. So what happens is, as the years went by, and I'm treating my sinus condition with antibiotics all the time, I'm growing this in my sinuses. And it just developed into this nerve pain. The fungus wrapped around my nerve and caused that extreme pain that I was going through. But the doctor said that, well, he was telling me, the dentist was saying, well, you have to go to your doctor and get it, and they have to actually go in surgery and pull out this polyp of fungus. And so I went straight to my doctor from this. My doctor told me that my dentist was full of ear specialists crap, and that he didn't know anything, and that there's only one type of fungal infection that goes in the nose and it kills you. So I go home thinking, well, okay, my doctor knows. Does my doctor know? So I do what I normally do, is I don't believe him, and I check it for myself. And there's 5 fungal infections. Only one will kill you, and most of them are very easily treated. And the common way of treating them is colloidal silver. Who knew? An antifungal, right? So what do? I get my little nose spray bottle, because I had a lot of them around because I've got sinus infections all the time, and I dump it out and I make a solution of colloidal silver, because I have a colloidal silver maker. And I add a little bit of salt to it so I can do it. And I start spraying it in my nostrils twice a day. Again, I'm not giving you medical advice. And within 3 months, my health was back to normal and the pain was completely gone. But it did take a while because that one was severe. And of course, to this day, my doctor thinks I'm full of it and that wasn't it. And he still says there's only one sinus infection. Although I did catch him looking for something. And I'm thinking he's looking at a medical on the internet. And I said, oh, is that a special site that you're looking up for doctors? And he goes, oh, no, it's just a regular medical site on the internet that I could do. Okay. So anyways, my whole spewel and rap about this is that the more that I'm looking, this is what it is. This is what's killing all of us, is this fungus, is this... I'm not going to get too conspiratorial, but let's just leave it at that please look into this. Look into things like colloidal silver, spirits of, spirit gum of turpentine, that other one that I can't name because it will get my channel taken down. The video's called Watch It Anyways, so just go back there. Everybody's sick. Everybody has this in their body. Everybody. It's not just me that has gone. I'm a canary, is what I am. I'm one of those kind of people. I'm hypersensitive to everything. Things affect me quicker. But the difference between me and my sister who died of cancer, and my mom who had lupus and died that way, and my daughter who now has an MS, is that I'm stubborn. And I research, and I try things, and I get better. But I get bad again because I'm a canary. That's all I can say is I am like squatting saying, that there's not enough air in here. It's time for us to start looking at other alternatives. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Live in love and light. And remember, light is enlightenment. It's looking into things. It's looking into the dark places, even if you don't like them. I love you all. Talk to you later.